So Sandeep and Ghosh, in previously we are we was using a managed disk. There are two type of disk in Azure. Managed disk. We have already done all the labs with this disk, and another disk is unmanaged disk. So the question is that how can we use or how can we launch a Windows machine or the virtual machine with the unmanaged disk? Okay. So in this session, we are going to see how to launch a machine with the unmanaged disk. Let's go to the Azure panel and check this. Go to your resource group, any of the resource group or data center, and create a resource, Windows data center. Go to the next step, select disk. In the disk option, we have disk type is premium SSD or the encryption with the REST platform management key PMK. In the advanced section, there is a hidden option. In the advanced section, you can see it's always recommended that you have to use the managed disk. But I am going to use a unmanaged disk. How to use unmanaged disk with Windows machine or any virtual machine? So let's untake this. It will require a storage account. It will require a storage account. Means my virtual machine have a storage account. Right now you can see my virtual machine have a storage account, and disk will created into a storage account on a container. Got it? So let's go to the panel and create a storage account. If you don't have the storage account, you can create it by here. Create new. I selected it here, my data center disks, and same all the things. Click next on the networking and next on the management. Next to the advanced, review and create. So unmanaged disk, it will take some time to launch because they have to create a VHD extension file on the storage account. Let's click on the create. Let me write something more about the unmanaged disk here. Managed disk. So let's go to the panel. Deployment is in process. Wait for the deployment till the time. It will take 2 or 3 minutes to create. You cannot see unmanaged disk into the disk section. You cannot see the unmanaged disk here in the disk section. You don't, here you are not able to see the disk section. Yes, this is once the unmanaged disk is created, you are not able to see the unmanaged disk into the disk services. Okay, so how can we find it? Let's once deployment is completed, we will go through.
So Akshay, what is difference between managed and unmanaged disk, and in what case we will use this disk? So can you
Yes.
brief?
I'm coming on that. I'm coming on that. Once the deployment is completed, let me introduce. Okay. Till the time it will take some time, so we are move forward. So unmanaged disk is not managed by Azure portal or the Azure cloud. So you have to take care your data. Azure is not responsible for your data loss or any kind of data loss. So you have to take care uh, of your unmanaged disk. Azure always recommended that you have to use the managed disk. Managed disk comes with the default encryption, but an unmanaged disk, they don't have any type of encryption on it. And also you can migrate your unmanaged disk to the managed disk. You can migrate your disk to the this disk, unmanaged disk to the managed disk. If you want to find your unmanaged disk, you have to go into your storage account. In your storage account, you have a container. Uh, in container, you will find your VHD file. So once the deployment is completed, I will show you. Yeah, deployment is completed. Let's go to the resource. In the disk section, here you can see in the disk section, you will find your disk. And also ultra disk is not available in that type of disk. Ultra disk is not available in the unmanaged disk. So here we write ultra disk is not available, and if you want to see this disk, if you want to see this disk into your disk section, let's go to the disk section, and you are not able to find your disk here. Okay, there is no disk to display. You are not able to find your disk here. For your disk, you have to go your storage account, go to the home section and click on the my windows VM. For in my windows VM, you have to go to the particular VM and select the disk section, and now select virtual VM. So this is the disk details, and this is the virtual HD URI path. It's stored in the blob storage. Blob storage is a part of a storage. So we will learn in further what is blob storage and all kind of operation related to the storage. So go to the storage section. We will find this into the storage account. Go to the storage accounts once, and you will find your data disk here. So here you find my data center disk. Click on that. You will find a container over here. Go to the container section, disk storage, container. In the container section, you will find a VHD. Click on the VHD. In VHD, VHD is a by default extension of a virtual hard disk. As you already seen this type of VHD in the VMware or the virtual boxes. When you create a virtual machine into the VMware or the virtual box, you will find a VHD. If you select this, all information comes here related to your hard disk. This URL is this, and last modified it is, and you can also go to the metadata. So you can see the tag name is my Azure Windows VM, disk type is OS disk, and again, and the key, encryption key or the value. Okay, got it, Sandeep? How can we launch a unmanaged disk with? Hello.
It's actually able to hear it.
Yes. Is it fine right now?
Yeah, yes, yes. But
I
your
I
screen sharing
lost
is stopped.
I lost your screen share.
Okay, you lost your my screen share. Let me share it once again. Got it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you will find your data disk over here in the My Azure account section, storage account. In the storage account, go to the select storage account and the container. In the container, you have one VHD. In the VHD, you will find your virtual hard disk, the same as your VMware or the when you create a VMware with the Azure Windows, so you will find a VHD. Same as when you create a virtual machine on your laptop, so VHD is created. Sandeep, I think you are worked on the VMware.
Yeah, yeah, yes, actually.
So when
I
you
think VHD is for Hyper-V and VMDK is for VMware.
yes. So the same kind of thing Azure use here. Uh, it will create a VHD here in my storage account. Okay, so this is the way how to launch a Windows machine with unmanaged key. And the second question is that why we use this? Okay, if my requirement is I want latency, high latency, it is used for high latency. Okay, and managed disk is used for the high performance, but unmanaged disk have the low performance. High latency, but the low performance. Latency means the connectivity with the machine. Got it, Sandeep?
Yeah, yes, we got it.
Okay. So whenever we required high latency, then we use managed disk, but it is not recommended because unmanaged disk is not managed by the Azure portal, or he did not provide it did not provide any type of support on the with the unmanaged disk. You have to always use the managed disk. Managed disk is uh, little low latency but high performance. Okay, managed disk comes with the low latency but high performance, and also ultra disk is available. Okay, so let's go to the panel and
Akshay, in
yes, yes, yes.
general, who will be using this unmanaged disk? I don't think anybody using this because
What?
of
Yes, can you repeat it? What you
yeah.
asked?
In general, unmanaged disk will be using by anyone in general business in
And
production or non-production.
it's no, it's not required in the production environment. It's required only for testing purposes related to the requirement. Like if I want high latency, if I want high latency, high performance, high latency means I don't want a high execution time, then I use unmanaged disk, but it is not recommended. You have to always use the managed disk with your machine. Okay,
Okay.
because AWS provide also support for the managed disk. AWS take care all the things related to the managed disk, and also you are able to use the ultra disk. Here you can see ultra disk is only available when using managed disk. Okay, so if you have existing unmanaged disk, if you have, like suppose you have you have launched this machine with the unmanaged disk. Here in the storage account you have one unmanaged disk, so you have one more option in the Azure portal, that you can migrate your managed disk to the you can migrate your unmanaged disk to the managed disk. Got it? You can migrate your unmanaged disk to the managed disk. Okay, so in the panel you have one more option, how to migrate to the managed disk. Click on this section, so it will migrate your unmanaged disk to the managed disk. Let's click on that to migrate my disk or to move my machine to the unmanaged to the managed. Let's click on that and click on the migrate. Okay, so what the things it will done in the background, you can read here. Manage disk, simplified disk management for VM by managing the storage account behind the scenes. Managed disk also provide granular access control with RBAC and better reliability for VMs in the availability set. Also, source unmanaged disk are not deleting after the migration. Managed disk are created by making a copy of the source disk. You can revert back to the unmanaged disk by creating a new VM with the source disk. Configuration of the VM is not changed after the migration. So it says it is now validating. It says when you move to the when you migrate your when you migrate your unmanaged disk to the managed disk, so then it will apply few steps on your machine. First step is it will first step is it will shut down your machine. It will shut down your machine. Second one is second one is it will create a copy. It will create a copy to your managed disk. It will create a copy in your managed disk, and also unmanaged disk is also available Unmanaged disk is also available in the storage account. Unmanaged disk is not deleted. And deattach the unmanaged disk. Attach the managed disk to the VM. And start the machine. So your data same as it is as you have in previous. Got it, Sandeep? So these 6 points when you click on the migrate. So let's go to the managed disk created since June 10, 2017 are encrypted with the rest. Means after this days, after this date, any disk is created or launched, then it will comes with the default encryption. Okay, so you can see the disk process here. Disk is migrated or not. You can see successfully migrated with the virtual machines. Means the disk is created and also attached with the machine. Okay, so to find your disk, click on the disk section and you will find your managed disk here. Now you can see this is a managed disk with the premium SSD. Okay, but our old disk is also available in the storage account. You can find here, go to the storage account section and my data center disk. In my data center disk, go to the container and yeah, you can see VHD and also in the VHD name same as it is as I have, and also you can see availability type. You can see the lease state is available, means you can create or launch a machine with the with this disk, with unmanaged disk. You can use this disk to create a virtual machine. Okay, so lease state is available. Let's go back to the home section and uh, my Windows VM. So disk is successfully created and also migrated. Got it, Sandeep? Any confusion here?
Fine, sir.
Any question, Ankush?
Fine.
Fine. Okay. So another thing is how can we put encryption on that? Okay. So let me record once again.